Hey, it's your narrator here. Thank you so much for listening to our tale. Special thanks to our subscribers on Ko-Fi, Scav, Xbox Unofficial, Kane, Sky, Maelstrom Star, Flowerfield, and David Draws. Your support means more you can know. Our background music is by Marika Shans, with a closing by Cody, and an opening by Ben McElroy. Our art is by our very own Corey, voice of Virgil. Now why don't you sit with me and look up at the sky? You see the stars? They're telling us a story, if we want to listen.
Well, that was eventful. You really shouldn't have come along, I don't know what made the oceans come rushing in, but whatever forced Keen into changing into that sort of what would you call it? Vampiric form? It doesn't matter, it could have happened to you. Well, it didn't, did it? Thanks to the bag. Right, Ox's bag. So, are the two of you... No, he is far too eager to take Henry's hand. Oh. Well, anyways, do you think it's alright letting them explore the flooded lands without us? I don't know why these maps and their havens have them in such a chokehold. It's complicated. Shepherd's business, vampire business. They have it in their heads, they need to discover it before Nevane does. Well, what is it? Fuck if I know. So, they're just running off for no good reason. Exactly. I'll miss them. Me too. And you all head off into the oceans. You've left your goats behind. Both Clementine and Orna are staying back with the winds while they prepare to take their own journey back to the rest of their group. You're not quite sure what you have ahead of you besides the flooded sands and the caves that Georgette says open up in the back of her previous home. The journey from Slate's Edge to the Carapace graveyard is a short one. I think if you are taking your time, it's probably like 5 minutes. Ox, the landscape has changed. It is now covered in shallowed waters that are not quite sunk into the sands yet, but you can still see the stone shape of the place where you would watch stars, and that can serve as your guide, at least to find Georgette's home somewhere familiar.
Yeah, I think we'll head straight there.
It's morning, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it took us a while to say goodbye, but it is early in the day.
Yeah, you have plenty of daytime ahead of you.
Are we just gonna head straight in if we find a way in there?
I think whatever is down there... Well, there's papers and things that could be getting more damaged if we wait.
I don't see a reason why not, too. Unless we can't actually get in there.
It's no safer out here.
I think as we get closer... Can I roll an investigation check?
What are you investigating?
Well, we kind of know that in Georgette's home there might be an entrance, but if we see any other entrances that have appeared with this water...
Yeah, roll investigation.
I got a 23.
Wow!
Good job,
Look who's
Kian.
smart. As you slosh your way through the...
Not Virgil. Shape water. No wet
okay.
shoes here.
Ox clings to Virgil. Ox does not want to be wet.
As Virgil and Ox hold hands and comfortably make their way through the waters, and the rest of you slosh behind them. You pass by that stone, it's not an outcropping. As you pass by the biggest ox rock of all, Kian, you look around. The water is mostly still out here, of course, besides where you are stepping through it. But Kian, you can see a few spaced out ripples in the water, and they are meeting around this stone, as if they're coming from two different directions. One is in the direction of Georgette's cave. The other one is towards the center point of the hideout.
Do you see what's happening with the water?
Now that you pointed out, yes. You think, that there might be another source, I suppose.
Maybe. I'm not quite sure if I can go in. If it's like that.
What do you mean?
If the water's moving. It kind of hurts.
If you wanted to turn into a bat, I could carry you.
Does it work like that?
Just touching the running water is the problem.
I think so.
Or we could put you in the bag because that's an extra dimensional space, if I'm correct.
How badly will it hurt you, if it is going to hurt you?
You know, I haven't really tried that out. I almost went into the water and everything in my entire body told me not to last time. So I don't really want to try that out. I know it's supposed to hurt.
Are you getting that feeling now?
Am I getting that feeling now? I kind of made that up.
No, that was good. I'm like, I don't know if I even want to count this as running water, because it's just kind of spreaded.
It's walking water.
It feels a bit off-putting to you, but you're able to walk.
Well, actually, it's not. It's not as strong, but it's there. Just kind of like a bad, like, oh, you shouldn't do that sort of feeling.
Okay, do you want to give it a try, and if it hurts, we try something else? Do you want me to just...
Cube Pop turns into a bat
Okay.
and lands on Henry's head.
Wasn't entirely able to... Anyways,
You did volunteer.
well,
Okay, Ox, lead on.
Yeah. And Ox will lead the way with Virgil.
Okay. Yeah, with the dry boys ahead of the wet boys. Well, not all boys, but, you know, with an eye.
Let's do the caves first, because that's where we saw the journals.
Okay.
And if there's stuff that is being water damaged,
Yeah.
let's prioritize that.
The water level has dropped significantly since you were here before. There was an initial sort of rush of water that has since perhaps stopped or at least slowed to a trickle. So where before Georgette had to swim, you think maybe she would have been able to walk at this point. It looks like it's staying around this depth when you slosh your way into the cave entrance. The door is gone, long since floated off. Inside, it is a wreck. Most of the small items, the little bits and bobs, have been washed out or scattered. Ox, you see a floating paper just caught in one of the corner where you can see your own face as well as Scar and Ends. A wanted poster that you may have noticed tacked on the wall earlier when you visited.
Family portrait.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little like doodle of Georgette in the upper corner. Kirit, as you step inside, you feel something just lightly hit your shoulder.
I look around.
Just around like the bend of the stone. For a second, you see a hand held up like in a wait motion, and then it gestures for you to come forward.
He freezes. What?
As you wait and think, Kirit, Marigold, who has been just kind of flying ahead occasionally, landing on Henry's shoulder, circling above, landing on Henry's other shoulder, going ahead and back, she flies over and lands on your shoulder.
Kira will walk towards the beckoning hand.
You approach, you don't see anyone, and then, with impressive speed, someone grabs you by the shirt collar and just yanks you around the corner. And you are face to face with Jacques.
kill him.
Marigold flutters. And he holds his hands up in a shushing motion, and then immediately in a sort of surrender pose. Marigold flutters over from your shoulder to his, and back to you. Like, she can't quite decide who she wants to hang out with. And he kind of smiles seeing it before he whispers to you. I just needed to talk to one of you, and I feel like maybe you are the one less likely to try to kill me. Maybe. Is that accurate?
My first thought would have been Kian, but sure, what is going on?
And he glances over your shoulder and then back to you. He points to Marigold. I don't want to alarm any of you. I promise I did not decide to do this, but sometimes this one is around. Sort of.
What?
I do not think your friend Kian knows. I have been visited a few times.
And you don't think Kian's sending her? I guess that sounds kind of weird.
I don't think so, no. She's acting very suspicious, sneaky. She won't let me speak to Kian, which normally a familiar would let you do. I think it is a secret.
Roll for where the fuck Kieran is.
Yeah, have we noticed that our little guy is gone?
Little 6'1" guy.
When was the last time anyone saw Kieran?
How did we lose him already? We only just got here.
I don't think he came in here with us.
Can Kirit hear them?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to look over here. I'll be right there.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
We're in the oceans.
Henry too, sorry.
Jacques, winces and nods to himself. Yeah, I thought that might... and turns around and scampers off over the cave. He climbs up the outside of the cave wall with impressive skill, and Marigold follows him. He manages to make it just over the top, just out of view, before the rest of them show up and find you there alone, supposedly.
Yeah, sorry, it's just you should not wander off on your own.
Well, I was only sort of alone. Marigold went this way and I followed.
And where is she now?
Kian, do you know where Marigold is?
In little bat form, is that unease of the water still there?
Yes.
Little bat Kian flies off your head and clings to the wall, and then attempts to turn back into Kian.
On our floors on the wall?
Yeah. 16.
Okay, yeah. You are definitely getting the hang of this. And now Kian is clinging to the wall. There's a loud splash as Kian just into the water.
You okay?
Oh, I was trying not to do this.
You're not dead.
No, it's fine.
You actually don't sound fine. Do you want to stand up? Virgil will help Kian to their feet.
Yeah, Ox will cast Prestidigitation to dry Kian. I was gonna say de-wetify.
To de-wetify?
It's just not very comfortable. Thank you, though.
So, Marigold.
Yes, that's what I couldn't. They're gonna try to. Marigold.
You connect to Marigold. You kind of hear in your head a little Marigold coo, but you don't see anything.
Are you okay? Do you want to come back? Where'd you go?
You feel that she says no.
Okay. Will you be back later? Oh, yes. So, she doesn't want to.
Is that typical for familiars? To just...
I mean, I'm not gonna make her if she doesn't want to.
Not to be a pain, but the last time she didn't come back.
She was sort of held hostage.
But that was different.
Is it?
Ooh, this is very mean, but it might be safer if you dismiss her.
Kian crosses their arms. That's not really the sort of relationship we have.
But if something gets a hold of her out there...
Then I'll have to recast her.
Does she normally go off on her own? I feel like she's usually with you.
I mean, she's done this before. Sometimes she just wants to do things. She usually comes back within an hour or so.
Okay, weird question. Is it possible it could be Aelin? Do they still have a connection to her?
Kian, as you consider how you could possibly begin to check that. Marigold flies back over the rise of the cave and lands on your shoulder.
See? That doesn't disprove that it was Aelin. And not that I think they're up to something nefarious, but you didn't exactly part ways on the best of terms.
Marigold looks over to you, Kirit, and gives you a little wink.
He gives a little wink back.
Kian is just kind of looking at you with like a bit of disbelief. She just flew around. It's not like I was telling her to follow. She just went her own way for a little bit.
It's a really bad time for that, though. Especially given everything that happened last night.
We didn't talk about that beforehand, so Marigold, can we stick together while we're in these caves?
Is that the yes?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay.
We need...
Look, I'm not suspicious of her, I'm just, concerned for both of you.
I don't think Aelin would do that, or ever had the ability to. She's kind of her own thing, aren't you?
Marigold kind of, stretches her neck out a little straighter and, steps back and forth on Kian's shoulder. Gives her feathers a little preen.
She's just a very good bird.
Yeah, she is. Okay, shall we explore these caves?
And give a notice to the humanoid party members if we're going to go wandering off next time?
Sure.
Perfect. Let's go.
How deep is the water?
It is about 2 feet.
Ugh.
And then I think Kirit would have dismissed Codex.
How's Blossom doing?
Blossom's doing fine.
Okay, cool.
Blossom's like a big dog in size, so as you all head back into the caves, Marigold flies around a little bit more, lands on Virgil's shoulder for a moment, hangs out there,
Hello.
lands on Henry's shoulder for a moment, hangs out there, then lands on Kirit's shoulder, and you hear a voice whispering in your ear, Kirit. I'm sorry, I just thought you should know that Scarlet is interested in what you are doing, and I think, perhaps, and there's Marigold Jacques pauses for a long moment. I think there are some things that she knows and is not telling me. I want to help you. Marigold flies off, circles around again, lands on Kian's shoulder, nibbles at their hair.
Kirit will keep that to himself for now.
You don't hear back from Jacques Marigold for at least the time being, and Marigold does, occasionally fly around a bit, but sticks to Kian's side. I'll have you roll investigation.
I have proficiency, but I didn't roll very well. He's good at searching for things when people tell him to search for things,
What did you guys get?
18.
18?
12.
12.
17?
19.
7. I think Ox is too... I don't want... distraught isn't the right word, but he's really distracted by Georgette's belongings just willy-nilly and floating around.
Will you roll a d20 for me?
6. Yeah, there's a certain flavor to the 7 and then the 6.
You are finding a lot of familiar items, a lot of old parts of machinery that she never quite managed to finish. Of course, you find that wanted poster of the Clipburn crew. Her sleeping stuff is still here, like her soggy pillow and blankets, and old shitty mattress that you were always trying to get her to change. She never would. Then something catches your eye in the water that looks familiar and out of place. It's a coin. A collectible coin that you haven't seen for quite some time, and last you saw was in Scar's hands. She refused to give it up to you, no matter what dares you tried to barter for it. She would not surrender that thing. What does it look like?
It's a silver coin. Along one side of it is a snake eating its own tail. And on the other side, along the edge of it, wraps around the word Endelian.
Yeah, you see it, snake side up, glinting in the water.
He reaches out for it right away as soon as he spots it.
It is oddly light, lighter than you would know it to be. It almost feels like it's hollow.
Yeah, he turns it over in his hands a few times, and he'll look back towards the group. I don't think we're alone in here.
What do you mean?
Scar might be here.
I'm gonna cast Detect Magic.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Do you want to do it together?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's both cast Detect Magic.
Yeah, we both snap at the same time or whatever.
Alright, you cast Detect Magic. Of course, you see the gems that Virgil carries. You see, any magical items that you're holding, such as the Gem of Seeing, your bags of holding. Some of the machinery in here has a glow to it. Nothing looks incredibly blindingly bright or powerful, but it looks like things have perhaps been powered by arcane means.
What about this Scar coin?
The coin does not have a magical aura.
It has a vibe, though.
Threatening vibe.
I'm gonna use this, and Kian uses the Gem of Seeing, which I think we said like it's basically a stone you can see through, right?
Yeah, like holding up a piece of sea glass.
Yeah.
You do not detect any invisible or illusory presences here.
What makes you say that, Ox?
This coin. Last I saw it, Scar had it. She wouldn't give it to me, no matter how many times I asked.
When was the last time you saw it?
A while ago, maybe before I was in paradise.
Henry, you look at the coin that Ox is holding. You're pretty sure you saw one of those next to the door when you came in.
I don't think anything's here magically. I checked. Nobody's invisible or anything.
There's also another one of those. Here. Henry goes back over to the door, picks up the second of those coins. Does feel a little odd. Did she have two, or?
No, there was just one that I knew about and carried it with him all the time.
How do you know there's not more? It's a coin, right? Can I see it?
Sure.
Does it look like currency or?
It doesn't look like any currency that you're familiar with. Yeah. It is in the shape of a classic coin, stamped in the same style, but you don't recognize the symbols.
And it doesn't ping the Detect Magic when it comes in range?
No.
I don't think it's magic.
Ox, may I?
He'll hand Virgil the coin.
He'll let it sit in the palm of his hand and close his eyes and focus on it. Do I have any weird fucking visions?
You have to roll a history check.
Okay.
You have advantage on
Yes,
the
I
roll.
do. Wow, those were both bad. Luckily, my history's good. 13?
You can tell this is very old. It's not rusted, but through this magical connection to the sort of spirit of objects that you have now, you can sense its age. Probably about like just the start of the Vengeance or like just pre-Vengeance era.
Holy
coin.
shit. Like, you mean before the downfall?
Yeah,
Okay.
or at the very start.
Okay. I think his face goes pale a bit as he comes out of it.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. This coin is very old. It might be from before the downfall, or at least very close to it. You said N was carrying this and then Scar had it,
Yeah,
but there was only ever one.
yeah.
Do you think they're coming from Cage? Maybe it's not hers. Maybe it's a different one.
I guess it would make sense if there's more of them.
That would be better than Scar being here.
Henry and Virgil, just before Ox called attention to the coin that he found, you were able to find what looks like a trapdoor that has been opened. When you peered down into it, it just looked like a chasm that went onwards.
Is there water in it?
Yes.
Oh, so it's just filled with water
Mhm.
into the abyss. Okay.
You know, I might be able to see if Scar was here recently-ish, maybe? But, I mean, it's that coin is an ancient relic and it might get destroyed in the process, and I would hate... Do we want to destroy it in the process? I mean, it's just...
Well, what exactly are you going to do that will destroy it?
Well, I was... When you were all, out at the tavern, I was investigating on my own myself, and maybe discovered some interesting fire-based interactions.
What do you mean by interesting fire-based interactions?
Well, I have a theory, perhaps, associated with it, but while I was interacting with it, it didn't burn me or anything, it just sort of avoids me, and then I got, I don't know, a vision of what looked to be like the recent past of Ophelia making dinner. So I'm just saying, Scott's using me.
What? You're already having visions?
I guess?
It has been less than a month. Are you sure you're okay?
Maybe I'm just very talented.
Well, we can't go further right now, so why don't we just try this?
We could try going down there.
I would love
But
to
that's
know...
just all water. We can't go down there.
Well, I mean, I could, swim around a bit and see.
Let's maybe find out if Scar is here waiting for us before one of us goes down into the water, away from the others.
Where would Scar be?
I don't know, in the
That
water?
sounds awful. What you're suggesting?
If we're assuming that she is a vampire and we know vampires do not have to breathe, she could very well be in the water waiting for you, and that sounds horrible.
I could go down there.
What if you didn't do your coin thing?
Yeah,
Let's try this first.
Yes.
Destroying the coin?
I
Like hundreds of years old?
But it's also metal. I don't think we can make a fire that hot, right? Isn't that how it works?
Well, some metals have lower melting points than others.
There's 2 coins.
So for Henry's setup, taking either a pan from himself or from Virgil, and take some of the, I guess like the cloth from the torch material that has, isn't it usually like an oil-soaked cloth or something like that? Yeah. And stuffs that in there, and the coin in with it. And light it on fire, see what happens,
Do you just reach your hand in?
Yeah.
So you all watch Henry just casually plunge his hand into the flames. You can see them lick around Henry's hand, his palm, his fingers, but not touch it. It's kind of like when people move their finger through a candle's flame. There's no sign of pain. And Henry, you are being swiftly carried by churning waters through a large cave system. The water is moving quickly at first. There are a few other coins around, as well as what look like notebooks, other pieces of various machinery and equipment. You pass by a few large doors, and you can see water is streaming out of the edges, the seams between the door and the wall. And as the water starts to slow, you sink to the bottom and land on the floor of this cave.
Well, Henry will remove his hand and put a plate over the bowl container. I don't think this is the Scar one. On the positive side, there are quite a few coins, it seems, that were washed up from below us.
Okay. So whatever is beneath us is as old as that coin, then.
Did she say where she found that coin?
she wasn't the one who found it. N had it with him when he was found in the oceans by Georgette. He didn't remember a whole lot about before Georgette found him. He didn't really have any memories.
Right.
Well, this sounds really awful, but do you want me to go swim down there?
I really don't want you to do that.
Well, I could go if you're not.
But you breathe.
Yes, but I can hold my breath for a little bit.
But what if you get stuck down there?
We also have not eliminated the possibility that Scar is down there.
Kira gives Virgil an incredulous look.
I don't think
What?
she's down there.
Okay, but what if
Also-
something worse is?
That is a possibility, but I don't think that
If anyone's going down there, it's going to be me or a familiar. And just see if I see anything.
Let Kian spelunk.
No one should ever spelunk.
It sounds really awful. I don't know why I'm actually trying to convince you all to let me do it, but
I think at least a brief look is probably worth a shot. We can tie a rope around you.
oh god. This will be fine. Yeah, I don't need to breathe.
Well, I can give you a light for a minute. Let me check how that spell works.
An hour?
Henry will tying together too, just in
Yeah.
case we end up needing a lot of rope.
I'll cast light on your gay little ox earring.
Okay, Kian, armed with the rope around your twinkish, wayfish little waist.
Okay, so pull on it once really hard if you want us to pull you out.
Maybe twice so it feels like a
Okay,
strong signal.
sure.
2 to 3 times.
Just, really...
Just keep yelling, I guess.
Okay.
And you plunge into the trapdoor. Of course, quite quickly you are cast in darkness aside from the light of Virgil's magic. It goes downwards and also opens up fairly quickly. It's a walk, if you were walking, and it's steep. But then, maybe 10 feet down, it evens out. And then, about 30 feet ahead of you, you see it sloping upwards. And the pathway seems to rise above the water. You swim forward and up and emerge on the other side, and it just looks like the path continues on. And it strongly resembles the caves that you were in when you discovered the falcon. You can see ahead of you there are more dips, rises and valleys in this tunnel. Like there are places that are flooded and beyond places that are dry land. And in all this water and amongst these paths, you still see occasionally here and there these washed up lost objects.
Keen will pop in through Marigold. So good news, there's air about 70 feet ahead. Bad news is it seems to go underwater again. Maybe.
No.
But at least that's not very far.
I wish we knew where the water was coming from. Like if it were to fill up again, that would be pretty bad.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
But never mind actually. Well,
You're really inspiring confidence.
so that took me does it take me too long to get here? I could ferry people in a bag of holding, so you didn't have to get wet. Right? Wouldn't that work?
Might be a little cramped, but I don't see why not.
What is one person in each bag at a time?
I appreciate that. I'll take that.
Okay, I'll come back. In
Henry and Ox?
Getting in the bag.
Henry's already wet, he's also gonna swim, so you only have to do one trip.
Okay.
Virgil, ox, and a lion.
Except Delilah goes in the bag.
It's a bit crowded, but if you snuggle, you and the animals can really pile on in a cuddle puddle in the bag of holding.
All 4 of us?
Well, Virgil's cold and not very pleasant to snuggle with.
Yeah,
You
Ox.
have a very clammy cuddle pile.
Yeah.
I love how you decided to make this awful for both of you.
It is better than being drenched.
That's true.
Well,
And-
I don't like enclosed space.
Yeah, Ox is having a little claustrophobia panic attack as you make your way unknowingly through the flooded tunnels while the rest of you swim. Find a couple more of those coins.
They'll just keep pocketing them, whenever
okay.
they find any.
Yeah, you'll let's say... Oh, you find 6. Nice. As I mentioned before, you do find that there are rises and dips in the tunnels. Some of them do require you to swim again. But each one is fairly short. Or there are a couple here that are a little dicey, a little bit scary for you. It is a relief to at least have the guiding light that Kian has to get you through to the other side. Perhaps it is unsurprising to you that eventually these tunnels open up completely to a cavern so wide you can't see the walls on the other side and you can't see the cave roof above you. And you see a 4-building structure that looks a lot like Paradise Prison and a lot like the Falcon's previous home.
So, we're not gonna be opening any doors without...
Not this time, I think.
Is right where we entered this big opening, are there any, similar, light switches or anything of the sort?
You see sconces along the wall.
Do we want to try to figure out how to turn this on this time?
Yeah, is there any sort of, piping or, cords that lead from the sconces, or are they just, sticking out of the cave wall?
It looks like they're just sticking out of the cave wall. I should also note there is an important difference in the air between this place and the Falcon. You can tell you're in the oceans, but there it was a very dramatic feeling. When you stepped into the Falcon's cave, you don't feel that same sort of weight here. It's, again, still feels like the oceans, but that heavy aura is not here.
I'm gonna send Marigold around to see if there's any movement or anything. Does it seem like a good idea?
And you should have her go around and see. Do you remember that one of the larger ones had an entire wall missing? Might be an easier place to start going in than opening a door to a beholder.
Wait, Marigold can't see in the dark, right?
No.
Strike that. I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. And
Oh, by yourself?
they turn into a little bat and fly.
Oh, shit. So, odds of there actually being a second beholder down here?
I'm going to say not 0.
You don't see any sign of moths. You do see some jagged metallic shapes rising up from the water, because this area still has water. It is just not too deep for you to walk through. That look like, again, washed out pieces of whatever may have been inside. You see movement here and there, and if you flutter down to check it out, it looks like those plants, like those cacti that you saw earlier, in much smaller form, just clinging to the walls and rising up from the floor like they've just grown there.
I was on a mission to find the opening.
Yes, exactly like before, you find a building with 3 walls, a large, entryway. Inside you can see the skeletons of what look like greenhouses.
They fly down and try to turn into a human. Okay, there's some plant things moving, but there's nothing big. And there's an opening to the greenhouses, or where the greenhouses were last time.
Okay, so there are more greenhouses here?
I don't think I look that close, but I'm guessing. It all seems very familiar.
I personally think we should start there and then retrace to the room where we'd originally found the Falcon. See what they're keeping in this one.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Ox, are you alright?
Yeah, it's just being underground makes me uneasy.
I would also prefer if it was less wet. Still strange that it happened at all.
Yeah, I wonder if that was connected to, So I might have talked to Iliakos, and I might have, well, I don't think that we're related, and they weren't really pleased with me, or what I am. And then when I woke up, it was all. So I don't know if they did that, but it kind of seems like maybe they did do that.
So, Iliakos is not your parent? Your celestial one, at least?
No, I think we met them.
Shit.
Do you think Iliakos was trying to put you down here? If you're like the Falcon...
It was more of a you shouldn't exist sort of feeling.
That's not good either.
You know... No. Why are they making that sort of judgment if they're apparently not even your parent?
I mean, they're kind of like the big one.
But aren't they the one who gave you to your mothers?
I'm starting to think that a lot of things that I thought were true aren't really true. I mean, they always said they went to the temple in Iliac and asked Iliakos for a child. And then not too long after, I rolled up.
Out of nowhere? They just came across an egg?
On the beach. By their farm.
Like it washed up from the ocean? Like it washed up from the sea?
That's what they said, at least. They don't have any children, I think, is what they said. It's been 2 weeks. In my head. It's felt like 2 weeks have passed.
Okay, so if we're saying you're like the falcon and we're in a place where something like the falcon was trapped before.
I'm sorry, Virgil, I was just remembering. Didn't the falcon say that you were theirs?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are starting to make more sense now, in retrospect.
Shit.
How did you get from there to to your mother's?
Don't ask me, I don't remember.
I was an egg at the time!
If the falcon has been trapped for a long time, then how could they answer the call to create you?
Listen, I don't think we're gonna find those answers by asking me.
No, I don't think so either. It's more just something to keep in mind. Does beg the question of if the falcon perhaps was trapped more recently. Why? And by who? And we definitely won't allow the same thing to happen to you, Kian.
Great. Love that. Wasn't planning on staying here, so...
How are those greenhouses looking?
I killed your parent. How are those greenhouses looking?
They're pretty effectively destroyed. The structure, unfortunately, for those of you who do not enjoy water, was clearly fully flooded. Water still drips from the ceiling like a soft rain on all of you as you walk inside. Some of the clusters of mushrooms floating about, some separate bodies, some still clinging together. There is shattered glass as well, floating around. That is all you find in this room.
I'd like to pick up some amount of the mushrooms.
Yeah, Virgil's gonna join. Gonna pop some mushrooms in some vials.
Kian offers the bag of holding to put stuff in.
Let's take a few minutes, and Virgil will also check the, growing medium. Are there still shards of, red crystal in this as well?
Detect magic the room.
I mean, the growing medium has been dispersed pretty thoroughly throughout the entire cavern. I don't think you can find it. You do see one difference here that you didn't notice in the other. A small detail. There are signs attached to the 3 greenhouses. One says...
Is this in Celestial?
No, it's in common.
Oh.
One says Lion's Mane, one says Morel, and one says Truffle.
Do all the mushrooms we find scattered around look like the ones in Freya?
You take a closer look, the color is the same, but they are shaped a little bit differently. You find a variety of shapes.
Like, perhaps Morels were
Like a tall
hybridized?
cap, kind of like with a coral pattern.
Like kind of reminiscent of like a lion's mane, a morel, and a truffle.
Oh, it's wild.
Whoa. Well, I don't know. They're really wild. They seem to be kind of cultivated.
Shut. So which one of us has a truffle connection?
It's me because it's expensive.
You were detecting magic.
Just on the room.
You do not detect anything besides what is usually on you.
In the mushrooms?
Yes, you detect the same faded magical celestial aura from these mushrooms. It's very faint, but it's there.
I don't know if you're casting detect magic too, but they seem It seems fainter. The magic, but it's the same, I think. As far as I can tell.
What the fuck was that?
A will check.
Okay.
Do not do something stupid.
To eat one?
Yeah.
Eat one!
After we've
I'll pay
gathered,
you
while
money.
you're real life money. Damn.
In-game money.
Fate today is bribing you with real money.
Real life dollars.
I got $1.
While Kirt has his back turned, he's gonna take a little bite of one of the ones that looks like lion's mane.
Sorry.
Can I try to perceive this?
Oh god, it's just tear all over again.
Yeah.
Remember that time I ate something and I died?
Oh god.
You can try to perceive it, but I don't think you're gonna stop it.
But I
don't
know
imagine
lion's
this
mane is
happens
edible.
quickly. But yeah, roll sleight of hand. And Ox roll perception.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if I convinced Alden to kill Kieran.
No, fuck it. This is
14.
funny.
14.
4.
4. Okay. Yeah, you see Kirit turn around, and at first, you know, it's just out of the corner of your eye, you ignore it, and then you see him quickly, but kind of clumsily, take a lion's mane mushroom and chomp a bite out of it.
Kirit, did you just...
He swallows.
Those of you with detect magic, that faint aura that you saw around the mushrooms, you now see start to emanate from Kirit.
Kira, why are you glowing?
You're what?
In like a magic way.
He looks like a dog with tater tots in his mouth.
What did you do?
Why is the mushroom glow happening to you?
What do
He
you
ate
have?
one of the mushrooms.
You what?
Not a whole one.
Are you okay? How do you feel?
How does he feel?
Also, what the fuck?
He looks fine.
You feel, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't prepare for you to eat the mushrooms.
Really quick,
didn't
above
expect this?
table question.
Not even
You didn't think we would eat the mushrooms?
You made him look, of course not. You took like
This is
10
like-
minutes
yeah.
to decide how to spelunk a cave. I didn't think we'd eat the
Yeah, but this is...
But these are
This is edible!
Yeah.
Roll a d20, please.
This is a death save.
God.
Do I add anything to it?
No.
10.
You hear the distant sound of laughter. You can't quite pinpoint where it's coming from. It's like you're barely clinging on to this present moment, almost like you're trying not to fall asleep.
You're making a face.
I take another bite.
Kira!
I rolled a 1! Why? I take another bite.
No!
Virgil grabs you.
No.
Spit it out.
There's something. I hear something, but I can't.
That's not a good sign when you take a bite out of something magical. Drop it.
I imagine you probably got to it before I...
Yeah, he's slapping the mushrooms out of your hands. What is wrong with you?
I want to find out what's going on.
It could kill you. Before
It's
you
not
learn-
a poisonous mushroom.
You don't know that.
I do. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
well.
Technically, the magical mushrooms could be slightly poisonous, but
Oh, you don't say.
Henry consumed some of them.
Not these ones, in a very different mixture. And if you recall, he did end up dying.
I did die. Temporarily.
Sit down.
It's just a small amount.
Sit. You're swaying.
I'm not.
I don't think you're the best judge of that right now.
Kirit starts to weep.
Okay.
I
I cast Identify on Kirit.
The tears look almost like mercury. They shine and they float on top of the water. And when the teardrops hit each other, they will either merge or bounce off of each other and move further away. It doesn't seem like Kirit is under a spell necessarily.
I'm gonna grab a vial and see if I can scoop up some of those tears.
They do have a glow key in the tears under your detect magic spell. Vaguely similar to the shepherd's gems.
Okay, your tears look like the gems which feels like a bad sign. If that's your soul, stop crying.
Sorry, I just realized something. Because Henry has a magic item on. The magic aura of Henry's coin matches the aura of the curators.
And that's different. Henry,
Yes.
that coin that you have.
Yes.
Well, it's just that the magic seems the same as Kirit's tears.
You said you saw these in the Feywild.
The tears? What?
No, the mushrooms.
Yeah, we saw them in the...
Maybe it's because Henry's coin. It's Fey magic.
Yeah, seems like some sort of Fey shit. Fey celestial shit.
I mean, just the steps to get here. Kirit ate a mushroom that is a celestial magic adjacent, and then started to. Ooh, you're going to hate the phrasing. Extruding Fey magic.
Okay, just hold still because you're crying everywhere, and I feel like if it's the same as Henry's coin, we shouldn't lose them.
The vial.
Yeah, he's literally like he's trying to get every single one.
Daddy,
Yeah.
I swear to God.
I know we're in a thin spot in the oceans, sort of. Does the weight of the oceans feel any less after the mushroom?
A little bit.
So, if you could, all of you, I suppose, refrain from taking a bite of these, we can sit for a moment and find out what they actually are.
I think the shepherds are islands, or that the havens are shepherds.
Excuse me.
The mushroom, it holds back the ocean, right?
Are you saying the trial made us each an island?
Sort of, yeah. Like, you all can go into the oceans easier, right?
I'm gonna start crying.
Do it, coward. No. Well, yes.
And when Lo did the thing with the courage,
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I feel fine. I just can't stop.
What have you done?
Do we have a general antidote on us?
No, because somebody just ate a mushroom out of the blue.
It's an edible mushroom.
I've got 1 diamond.
Oh, good. In
Right.
case Kirit cries out his entire soul.
Kirit, will you roll Constitution, please?
It's 10.
You're starting to be able to control yourself a little bit more, though tears are still trickling down your face.
Fuck, hold still.
It's hot. I want to wipe them away.
Don't.
And soon enough, you have 6 small vials of this shimmering Kirit's tears.
Oh, okay. You good?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry. I just needed to test that.
Well, these are all yours now, I guess.
Thanks.
I realize this sounds ironic after what I just preached, but what happens if you drink them? Do you think it returns?
The crying?
What, since you're so eager to just shove magical things in your mouth?
We should keep it a little space between the two.
Maybe if you start feeling bad, that would be a good thing to try.
Maybe. I think I should give one of these to Umbra, maybe. See what she has to
Should
say
you?
about it.
If it's part of your soul.
Well, it'd only be a small part, right?
Oh, so long as it's only a small portion.
You don't have to decide now, Kirit. Let's walk around and think about it first. See how you feel. And then
Okay.
we still have to make it out of these caves before we can give them to Umbra.
That's
don't-
the spirit.
Yeah.
Should we, I don't know, get rid of the rest so that no one else can find these? Here. Well, we know that Navain is looking for these places.
I mean, it's going to be really hard for you to get every single... They've also washed out. So if your plan is to destroy every mushroom, that will be basically impossible.
Just set free a couple of goats, some pigs. They'll take care of it.
But then you'd have crying pigs.
Oh my god!
I think we should go forward and try to see what we can find.
Maybe not put it in our mouths.
We'll see.
Shall we go see if there is a vampire ahead?
Sure.
Great.
Why not?
Virgil will take the front.
Henry's right behind him.
The sound of your footsteps through the waters echo through the tunnel that feels like you've been through a couple times before now. It is absurdly dark and quiet and almost peaceful feeling here. And as you emerge into the room that held the falcon, you see that you are alone and that some event of great destruction has occurred here. There are gashes in the walls. There are dark stains remaining that you think could have possibly been blood. The shape is similar. There is still a pool, a sort of reflective pool in the center of the room with a island in the middle, barely rising above the water. And scattered throughout, as you step in a little bit further, across the room you see yourself, and then when you turn away you see yourself again, and yourself beyond that, and yourself behind you to the other side, as you realize the room is covered in mirrors. They are haphazardly laying about, again caught up in the same floodwaters as everything else, pointed at odd angles and creating a crystalline maze-like effect to the room.
Are we visible?
Keen and Ox are visible in some of them.
Ox doesn't step that far into the room. Once he sees that it is full of mirrors, he kind of stops close to the entrance. He'll stop just inside, but he looks very unsettled.
What happened here?
I don't know. Virgil's gonna go up to one of the, claw marks on the wall, and... How big is it? Does it seem like it was made by something, huge, like an animal, or... if he puts his hand up to it, could it have been human-sized?
Yes, it could have been human-sized.
Is there any evidence of bodies? There's, stains like blood, but are there any bones?
Roll investigation.
Natural 20. For 23.
6.
It's hard to find things in here with all of the mirrors, Henry. You're just so distracted by your beautiful reflection. No, it makes it hard to navigate. And, some of them have been broken. Sometimes you step down on what you think is just water, and it turns out it is a mirror beneath you. Sometimes you think you're heading towards an object, and then it turns out it's just the reflection of one. It's frustrating and therefore incredibly distracting. But Virgil, perhaps through skill, perhaps through luck, you do actually come across a few dark, decayed, and clearly very old bones, or pieces of bone. One you think is perhaps a rib bone, another looks like the side of someone's jaw. They look humanoid.
Okay. I didn't have a step 2.
You're not planning on doing your fucked up magic vision?
Oh my god. I guess mysterious objects or places touched by evil. If he stops and kneels beside these remnants of people. God, okay. He will just put his hand down through the water and touch the floor or a mirror or something, whatever is down there, and close his eyes and connect with this place, this room. Try and learn what happened.
Oh, that's right.
I don't wanna know. I actually don't. Natural 20.
Virgil, you are immediately taken back to a livelier time. The room is well lit, both with torches along the wall, arcane sconces, much like the shape of the ones you found outside, as well as the reflections in the mirrors that are carefully displayed to make the room almost like a carnival funhouse. It reflects itself almost infinitely, and it takes you a moment to get your bearings. You at first think that you're in a large crowd, but then as you are able to focus in, you realize that there are only about 5 or 6 people kind of milling about here. Speaking with each other, you hear laughter, just typical conversation, both from this room and from the tunnels behind you where the greenhouses lay. Now, walking down that entryway, you see a group of people. They're dressed in dark matching coats, and they each carry either trays or a cart with them. One of them has a tray with an array of vials and syringes on it. Some of the vials have a dark liquid sloshing around in them. some of the people have covered carts, and from the edge of one you can see the pallets filled with dirt that you recognized from the Falcon's greenhouse. And 2 of them are carrying bodies. They look like very young children or babies. One of them is a blue, looks like tiefling child with very small horns. The other is an elf, and you can see the pointed ears. And the other appears to be a firbolg with a dark tawny sort of fur just growing down its head. And then one person peels away from this group and steps forward to the pool in the center of the room. And that's where you see the Celestial. She's chained in the center, and the mirrors all seem to be pointing towards her around this pool here. Everywhere she looks, she will see herself. And she barely pays attention to this figure as he walks up to the edge of the pool and just kind of watches her. He's more handsomely dressed than the rest. He has a brimmed dark hat, and his coat is more of a well-trimmed, fitted, fashionable item. Something you would expect to see walking down the street of finer districts. And the Celestial turns and finally looks at him, and her face contorts with a rage. And she pulls at the chains and is able to make it easily to the edge of the pool, but she can't go any further. And he just laughs and turns around and walks. And then it's like you blink and the water is gone and the mirrors are broken and destroyed and smashed, and you see her face and her hand as she reaches a clawed swipe towards your face, and you immediately fall. She bares her teeth, and you wake up.
Did I recognize her face?
It was statuesque and beautiful. It looked like it could have been carved from marble. You didn't know her.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Whatever happened here, it was similar to the Falcon. I don't know what she was, but they had her captive here. She killed them. It feels like they deserved it.
I assume they're the ones who imprisoned her.
I don't know.
Did she escape?
I don't know what happened to her after she did all of this, and he just waves a hand around the room. Did she have wings like the Falcon? Did she look human?
She was humanoid. She had like the shadow of wings behind her.
I don't like that description. Okay. When she bared her teeth at me, were they sharp?
Yes.
Sweet.
Vampiric, one might say.
Yeah, one might say.
Well,
Maybe there's more answers deeper in.
I'd personally like to get a look at the front 2 rooms. I suppose risking beholder encounters, but this whole area seems relatively deserted.
What do you think they were doing?
Nothing good.
But why?
Does Virgil tell them what he saw?
Yeah, he does.
They were trying to make something or someone, it seems. Maybe even shepherds. Something like that.
They're trying to make people more like Celestials.
Or, I don't know.
Make it safe to go through the oceans.
Maybe.
Well, if this place is from before the downfall, the oceans didn't exist then, right? According to legend. Something happened and the oceans were a result of that. So whatever happened here might have created them.
I'd assume not just here. This is the, 3rd time we've seen this sort of facility now?
Yeah, they drowned the world.
Shall we keep going then?
I don't think I want to stay in here.
Yeah, I'd really like to leave.
Kian reaches into her pocket and just squeezes the falcon stone. And quickly, Kian just starts walking that way.
Yeah, if it's the same layout, it would be the constellation room, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if there is a beholder behind this, I'm sorry, but at least we're ready for it. And he's gonna open it.
You open the door to darkness, and then on either side of you, 4 panels light up. And in front of them, 4 more, and 4 more. And down this aisle, 2 rows of tall, bright machines start to hum. Each one has a number on it, seemingly random. 1, 5, 7, 3, 6, 6, 2. Behind each one of these machines is a large tank, some of them still with water, some of them with glass broken. To those of you who have frequented the casinos of somewhere, you find yourself faced with rows and rows of empty slot machines. And that is where we'll end our session for tonight.
What the fuck?
You know,
What?
when you get off the plane in Las Vegas and there's slot machines immediately in the airport, it's that same baffling experience.
Yeah.
So,
No,
who built
Henderson
Paradise
is-
Prison?
I think Paradise Prison was there and they were just like,
Yeah.
no one's
That
paying rent.
fucking
That's
sucks.
what
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm suspecting that it was a similar thing that was just used.
But it's a mirror. Man.
What about horses?
Commander? Tijani? We've received distress signals from the Sheriff of Nowhere. Anomalies in the oceans encroaching on the borders. That is not under our jurisdiction. But the Guardian is only an elemental there. It isn't strong enough to overcome a sudden shift in the tides, but if we send the shepherds, I think we should be able to. The ley line to somewhere is no longer ours. We cannot help them. But surely for the sake of protecting nearby territories, Sheriff Donna has allowed... No, she has not. Where exactly is this anomaly? It's here beside the town of Slate's Edge. You are dismissed.
Been building up a wall, laying mortar onto brick. Been building up a wall, 'cause you just make me sick. When that wall's between you and me, that's the way it should always be. And I've been filling up the sea, mixing water in with salt. I've been filling up the sea, 'cause this was all your fault. When we stand on separate shores, I'll simmer just a little more. Always fighting over something these days, crying over nothing either way. You've been building up a railroad, laying rails and stakes and wood. You've been building up a railroad, like it'll do you any good. When that train is on the tracks, we can put all this at our backs.
What?
Are we?
Uh-huh.
Was
The
that
vein?
Yeah.
Bitch! Fuck! That was so scary just now. You just commanded the whole room.
Are we dismissed?
Daddy, are we dismissed?
Yeah, you're
Dead.